What's up, guys? It's Will and Nick saving the world once again for episode 2 of our amazing podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's a lot to get into in this episode, and we will do our best to trim it down and be as concise but precise as possible.
Great words.
So, yeah, and there's a lot to get to discuss in this episode, but I think first things first, we discuss the mystery box that is episode 1.
And where did it go?
Nobody really knows, really. It's a mystery that will probably go down in the history books as one of the greatest mysteries ever known to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And really, I think we'll both speak on this. We both just wanted to refine it a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So the first episode, it was our first time, well, my first time ever doing a podcast, our first time doing a podcast together. So we did our best. We went through what we could, and we decided we wanted to refine a little bit. So now, if you're looking through, maybe you're listening to this 10 podcasts deep. We're in the future now, and you look back and you go, hey, where's episode number 1? It's hiding, okay? Maybe it'll come back. But for now, we're starting with episode number 2.
It is hiding, that's for sure. So, and yeah, we're definitely not like embarrassed by the episode or anything like that. There's just some things that we discussed that we wanted to refine to just kind of make it a little bit more of an enjoyable experience and less lengthy mostly. That's the biggest thing. It was about an hour and a half long. So we're going to trim that down and just like I said, be more precise and concise. So,
Yeah, going to try to keep these episodes to about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Feel that will be optimal
yes.
for us, the makers, and you, the consumer
Yes.
of this wonderful podcast. And
Yes.
you know what I mean? We're just going to hit the heavy points on what we want to talk about,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
have a good time.
Absolutely. And considering having a good time, this is the perfect time to do so considering it is the new year.
Yeah, and you could even say that this was our New Year's resolution. Take our podcast, tweak it, and put out the best product.
You could say that. We did not say that until now, but now we are, I
Just
guess.
the new year, just the vibes of the new year just struck us, and it was like, yo, we going to make this better. And
We
this is how
are.
we're going to do this.
This is it.
Yeah, so Will, do you have any New Year's resolutions this year?
I'm thinking of some. One of them, and definitely this is super, super cliche, but probably my biggest one. And Nick knows this, I've been starting to work out over the last several months because I was just like a scrawny beanpole, basically. And I have been for most of my life. And I've always been just tall and thin, basically. So I've definitely put on some muscle just from working out a decent amount. But my goal is to put on, by the end of the year, probably about like 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. So, and that takes a lot of time because my brother was actually telling me you take about like a good like job in weightlifting is putting on about a pound of muscle a month. So
Shoo.
yeah, so it's a slow process for most. And for me, I'm only in the gym probably 3 to 4 days a week. So, and I just kind of do my own thing and get in and out in about 40 minutes or so. So, but that's one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of people's. I was actually just at the gym prior to coming to record our little podcast here, and it is always funny at the beginning of the year. You can see everybody that is starting their gym membership, starting their fitness jersey, and hey, shout out to those people starting their journey. You know what I mean? It's any time is a great time to try to get in shape, and
Yes.
Will, I can attest. Is that the right word?
Yes.
I can confirm that he has been getting in the gym. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We've both been trying to better ourselves. We didn't wait for the new year, but, taking it more seriously. I think the new year is just kind of a reminder to everybody to say like, oh yeah, hey, new year, new me.
Right.
What am I going to do? How am I going to try to improve myself this year?
Right.
And I think that's pretty admirable, regardless of what your resolutions may be. Just the act of trying to improve yourself.
Right.
That's always a good thing.
And I think honestly, like I'm in a little bit of the opposite position of a lot of people that start a New Year's resolution at the gym. Most people are trying to lose weight, I think, that start a resolution like that. Me, I'm trying to gain weight. So just to put on some muscle and look a little bit beefier. And part of that, and Nick knows this, part of that is because, I don't know how much you guys know about me yet, but you will, because I want to look better in my cosplays. So and part of that's because if you're cosplaying Darth Vader and Kylo, you got to have at least a little bit. Darth Vader, definitely. So, yeah, I got to fill out those costumes a little bit better, or otherwise the kids are never going to believe it.
So the extent of what I know about Star Wars for me is I know some of the characters.
Yes.
I know who you're talking about. I know Darth Vader. I know Kylo Ren. I know Jar Jar Binks. I know Anakin and Luke, but I don't know too much. I'm sure I've seen some of the movies. Maybe I'll say some. I don't even want to say most, but I've seen some of them. But I don't know what their physiques are necessarily. I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah.
But I do think it'd be funny. And I mean, tell me if this is true. Darth Vader takes off his cape and everything. He's just jacked.
Dude,
he's just a huge guy.
Well, like funny fact, the original actor who played Darth Vader in the costume
Was
David
Arnold
Prowse.
Schwarzenegger.
No, but David Prowse was a bodybuilder.
Okay.
So Darth Vader is big.
Okay.
Kylo is played by Adam Driver, so he's in pretty good shape, but he's not like a bodybuilder, but he's in pretty good shape. So like he's tall like me, and I'm probably I'm definitely thinner than he is. So I could probably put on like 10 pounds of muscle and be like pretty much right there.
Okay.
He's 6'2", 6'3", so I'm a little bit taller. But Vader, I actually wear a muscle suit underneath, but it's like a Party City one. So it's like, but it's legit. So like it helps for sure, but like I still look a little bit skinny in it.
You got to
so
get that
like,
right shape.
Yeah, so I got to build. That's why I've been doing a lot of chest. Like when we went, I did
Sure,
chest because Vader's got a big chest. So I got to fill that out. It's important for the ladies, for one.
Oh, hey, the ladies want a buff Vader.
They do. That's like the number one New Year's resolution for women.
If you ever go to a I'm probably gonna say this wrong, but some sort of convention where there's like a lot of cosplay going on, all the ladies always flock to the jacked Vaders.
Yes.
All the other Vaders are like, no.
Yeah, it's 100%. They're like, nah, too scrawny. But the Jack Vaders, the women are like, that's it.
That's the guy that I'm going to. That's the one I want the photo with.
Yes, exactly. So,
man, that's funny.
but I still get photos, but I could get more photos.
I'm sure you get photos because Will's costumes are grade A.
Dude,
okay, believe me when I say this shit is legit.
Yeah, they are grade A, but a lot of people I think underestimate how much they cost.
I'm sure.
So like they unless you make them all yourself, which very few people do, and I'm not skilled in that area, I'll modify some things, but I'll like commission people from custom groups and stuff that make certain parts. But it's not like people also have the misconception that like you buy the whole costume from one place. It's definitely not that easy. It's like you have every part is made typically by like a different maker. So like a different shop. So like, and you have to have it all custom fit. So it could take you a year to put the costume together, even if you buy everything. That's what it took me. So,
and that's getting a quality costume put together.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's probably people that do it like a half-ass job.
Yeah, right. But like this is like if you want legit, like for me it's 501st, which is like the charity organization I work with, and you have to be to get approved. You have to be movie accurate. So like it has to be legit. So like a costume like Darth Vader, his is pretty expensive because it's a lot of parts. Probably spending about $4,000. So. Yeah, so it's like, but that's with the lightsaber and everything. So, and a lot of people spend more than that. Like my Kylo was probably about 4,000.
Yeah, before Will told me about this, I had no idea, and that's pretty intense. But
yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, if you're going to do that, I think worth the money because yours look fantastic.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
They really look amazing.
But it's worth it if you're into it and you're gonna use it a lot. Like I do all these charity events and use it a lot, and I wear them every year. Nick's seen so yeah, it's worth it to me. But that number is going to sound crazy to some people. But, you like what you like. And I think it's important to be yourself. So be yourself. As long as you don't bankrupt yourself. I mean, I save my money.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, right. So I save my money and I, budget appropriately. So, and I don't go to bars. I don't drink. Like, I don't go out to restaurants. Like, so I save it all and spend it all on that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, it's just in general, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, if it makes you happy, cool. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't, what do they say? You can't burn the candle at both ends of the stick. I think that.
Something like that.
I don't know if the saying makes sense. I'm so sorry.
No, it's awesome.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like if that's what you're interested in investing your money and your time into, then cool, pick your thing and go for it.
Right. And I think that's one thing, kind of like we discussed a little bit in the first episode, a little bit of a tease there. I think in the opposite sex, whoever you're trying to appeal to, I think they like confidence. They like that you can be yourself.
Yeah.
You're unapologetic about what you like, as long as it's a healthy thing. But like
you're like, I like crack.
Yeah, like I like that. That's confident. It's like no, that would probably be the one of the things where women might be like, no, I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna swipe left.
Man, he really is confident about that crack.
Yeah, he really
thing,
loves crack, and
I don't know if that's for me.
I like his confidence, but not the crack thing. But I think that's cool. I think it's appealing. I think, and just to friends too. I think it's like I respect the hell out of someone who's like, you know what, I like this thing. I'm like, great. Don't be shy about it. So
yeah, something I've always like said, and I always think is, if somebody else is excited about something and like genuinely excited about it, it gets me excited about it.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I like to see other people like enthused and happy about something. It just gets me juiced up as well. I'm like, oh yeah. Tell me more.
Yeah, it does. It does get me juiced up as well. So it's always fun, I think. So, But as far as other New Year's resolutions, well, like with my YouTube channel, one thing I've talked about, or I'm going to be talking about, is I'm going to do a lot more requested reviews. So with a shameless plug, Will Foxification, that's me on YouTube. I
Yep.
do a lot of movie reviews, so I'm going to do more requested reviews. I've done about almost 90 of those in my whole YouTube career over like 3 years. And I also do prop reviews. So I do like, I'm working on a review of a Jon Snow sword. So, which this sword was expensive too. And it's full metal Damascus steel and stuff like that. I'm going to do more stuff like that. So what's one of my resolutions? So like, do more videos I think that I like am passionate about, like stuff that I really want to share about, instead of just hitting like, oh, this movie came out and I saw it and then review it, like reviewing more things people, that are obscure and people like, and also reviewing things I'm passionate about.
It's really cool, man. And hey, shameless plug, get used to it, guys. If there's an opportunity to plug, you better believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, man. And then for me, something that I started last year as my New Year's resolution is I decided to go on a vegan diet last year.
Yeah, you did.
And my only resolution, quote unquote, I don't know if we can call it a resolution, is I decided I'm going to not do that anymore. It's nothing against like a vegan diet. I enjoyed it. I didn't have any issues with it. For the people maybe wondering, people ask me this a lot, like, oh, how do you feel? Do you miss eating meat? Like all these type of, I assume, are probably like generic questions about the subject. I think after a while, you just find other things that you can eat, and it's not like I'm like, man, I really need a ham sandwich right now. But part of the reason that I decided not to was just because I don't want to be so caught up in like vegan that I'm like blinded to things that are important. And the whole reason I started in the first place, there's a few different reasons, but one of them is definitely for personal health. You know what I mean? I want to be as healthy and as optimal as I can possibly be. And a lot of the stuff that I was reading, more than a year ago, was saying like, hey, you know what I mean? This is a good way to be optimized. And now that I've read more into it, I think that more people have been vegan for longer periods of times. We're getting better sample sizes. I do think that, as people, we're probably omnivores. I'm probably triggering people on both sides of the coin right now.
I'm not triggered.
Yeah, and that's good. I think that we should all be open to it. If somebody wants to eat meat, fantastic, good for them. If they want to eat plants all day, fantastic, good for them. Do whatever is best for you at the end of the day. But for me, I actually started introducing eggs back. I haven't had any meat yet. I don't know that I'm going to have. I still might not eat meat. I don't know. Like I'm not craving it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the thing that did sway me, and I did hold on strong for a year. I started thinking this at probably the end of October. And I was like, man, it would sound dumb if I was like, I was vegan for 10 months. Like, nah, I need to do a whole year.
Hit the whole year.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to do a whole year's worth. So I held off until the new year. And I've had eggs like a couple of different times.
Yeah.
But that's it, just because I feel like they can be very nutritious. The
Protein.
other thing exactly. Protein. Not that there aren't other like protein sources and stuff like that, but it is a good source for protein. And I do think for the people that are worried about like the cruelty aspect, which I hear you, factory farming, like I won't dive super deep into it, but it's kind of like,
yeah, I know it's
but
not good.
With eggs, chickens do like eggs, right? Like that is a fact. Whether you have them in a factory farm environment, I don't even know what to call it exactly. Sorry, I'm never gonna be like super on point with my verbiage.
It's all good.
But if chickens are just running around the wild, they will pop out eggs regularly, right? Free range eggs, and I'm cool with that. I think that kind of helps with the dietary thing, as well as like the cruelty aspect. Like I think it meets in the middle really nicely.
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing with this kind of stuff is if you're a vegan or vegetarian or none of those things, I think it's important to be respectful of other people's beliefs and opinions.
For sure.
So, but I do understand, like, if you're vegan or you're vegetarian, that strongly conflicts with people who do eat meat. So like
100%.
You have the urge to be like, well, you shouldn't be doing that, or you should do this because of this reason. Aren't you upset about the cruelty to animals? Like, yeah, absolutely I am. But I think it's important to understand not everyone thinks the way you do. And I have experienced that with people before where, they're vegan or whatever, or vegetarian, and they're like, can be super judgmental. So like
100%.
So you were never like that, and I love that because that's something that I think just shows open-mindedness. And like I said, I understand everyone has their own beliefs and that kind of stuff, but I think, like I said, it's just important to be respectful about people can differ. Like we don't all always have to agree and fall in line in the same line of thought on everything. So
the different thought processes are what makes everything really cool and what makes everything neat.
Right.
And I tried really hard during that stretch to not be like, pushy vegan guy. Like, I don't even like saying it.
You never were.
Thank you. And I did like, I think it was always funny, especially when I first started eating vegetarian, more so than when I switched to eating vegan. But people would always like mess with me, like, and like pick at me. I don't think they were like picking on me, but pick at me, you know, just fun, you know, just friendly things, of being like, oh, don't you want meat? Don't you want meat? So I joke back and stuff like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I used to always tell people, and I mean, I still will to this day, like, do your own research. Do not listen to me, just a guy,
Right.
just one random guy saying like, oh, don't eat meat, only eat carrots, only eat broccoli, like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, get your information from more than one source. Make a decision that's best for you at the end of the day. Right. I don't think that anybody should be super heavily influenced by one person. You know,
be
whoever it may be.
well-rounded and just expose yourself to a lot of different things. That's what I think. And you know, and like that applies to certain things. I think for sure. Definitely one I think would be the news. But I am the worst person to listen to for that because I do not follow the news. I worked in the news.
Hilarious.
I hated it.
Hilarious.
We'll tell those stories sometime. Hated that job. But it just wasn't for me. I think it wasn't necessarily where my skill set lie, but it did teach me some good things. So everything happens for a reason, and I'm a firm believer in that. Like I learned a lot of these editing skills from that job. So and now they've been useful in my YouTube and everything else career.
Let's go.
So yeah, absolutely. So I think it's like that's something I'm a believer in personally. The older I've gotten, I feel like the more I believe that everything happens for a reason. I'm not so sure how religious I am. That's always something too when it comes to like online dating, because you either fall in like one of two categories. A lot of times you're either like religious or you're not. So like if you meet someone, even in person even, and they're like religious and you're not, they're gonna be like, well, this ain't gonna work, sorry. And some people don't care. And then there's also others that are like, well, I don't want someone who's religious because it doesn't, you know, meet with my own beliefs and that kind of stuff. But either way, I think that comes back to the open-mindedness thing. And I think also my main point being that I just think there's like things happen in the universe to put you on a path that you're meant to go down.
Sure.
So it's like, even if something is terrible at the time, you're like, oh, but if that didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? And the more I get older and wiser, I feel like I'm seeing that more. Like, even though I met this girl and it didn't work out, that changed my mindset to help me do this. You know what I mean?
Dude, that is a great point. And I think about similarly, maybe in like reverse engineering what you're saying, I just think of it as the fact that I wouldn't be who I am today had all those things not happen. So like the same thing that you're saying, but yeah, like all of those things led you to be the person that you are today. And guess what? We'll never know any differently. We won't know who we would be today had something changed because we don't have time machines.
Right. Absolutely. And like I said, those events, like those formative events, those are obviously what form you. So like, and those things like, you know, and things along the way too, smaller things that you might not realize are playing into the bigger picture. They're leading you down another path that's taking you somewhere else. So it's like, it's all crazy because I think about that stuff sometimes. That's the more I believe in, like the, you know, like the fate aspect of things. Like this was always meant to happen because you were meant to go here. Like, and I can even share like we talked about like the online dating thing a little bit. So like with my ex-girlfriend that I had met, we met through YouTube, right? And then at the time I was like, well, maybe I was at first on YouTube like to meet her, and it ended up not working out. But like the fact that I learned so much from that, like I was meant, you know, maybe I was meant to meet her to learn all these things and go this route. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And like still make a good friend, obviously. And you know, all that kind of stuff. So I think even when things don't work out, you have to think glass half full and be like, oh, well, I learned this and I learned this about myself and I grew in this way. So like I was meant to meet her because I needed to do this, you know what I mean? Or grow this way.
For sure.
Even if it doesn't work out.
I definitely appreciate the optimistic viewpoint. That's how I like to try to think about things as well. I'll stay on the relationship topic. Even in relationships that don't work out, which, you know, if you date somebody and you break up, clearly that didn't work out. But you can learn things from that. And I like to think about those relationships as, okay, part of the reason that this didn't work out is because I really liked X, Y, and Z about this person, but I didn't like A, B, and C. So now I know in the future, I can just avoid A, B, and C.
Exactly.
And we'll see how that shakes out.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like you learn also, and this comes back to the job thing. I mentioned working in the news. that job taught me a lot about the editing skills. And also, the biggest thing it taught me, what I don't want to do. So like that is, my parents always told me that, like when I didn't like it, they were like, well, now you're learning what you don't want to do.
For
And
sure.
That's like the biggest thing. Like, and that guided me towards education, which is what I work in now. Because I was like, look, I don't want to do this. I want to be in education. So I started teaching, and then now I've been in education for several years now. And it's been, it's been great. And I love it. So like, it's just, that led me, that job, even though I hated it and I was miserable for the most part, like I was like, it moved me in a different direction, a more positive direction. So sometimes you have to go through the suffering, so to speak. It's like first world problems, like my job sucked, but it's like, like my job sucked, and then like I didn't like it, but it led me towards a more positive path.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's good to share, man, because I'm sure there's probably got to be somebody out there listening that feels the same way, or is maybe going through a situation where they're like, man, I'm not stoked about this situation that I'm in right now.
Right.
But like Will's saying, you're just going to learn what you do and what you don't like, and you know that, hey, I probably want to avoid this in the future.
Yeah.
I'll tie it into kind of a similar experience for me.
Yeah.
When I first started working my professional life, my 40 hours a week life, I've been working in retail. Like me and Will worked in retail together, doing part-time work many moons ago.
Yep.
And I continued to work in and started working in retail management and everything like that. And it was fine. I really did enjoy people that I worked with, and I enjoy the interaction with people. But one thing that got wearing over time is just the hours and how sporadic they can be. Like you never really have like a set schedule working in retail. So I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it. But one thing that I know moving forward that I really want is a regimented schedule. You know what I mean? Like I'd like to try like an 8 to 5 or a 9 to 5, whatever you consider like a day job, because I missed out on a lot of evenings and weekends with family and friends being able to do certain things, because, when homies would be off on the weekends and like, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely working 12 to 9 this Saturday. So I'd love to, but no, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the thing that I love now, because I do have that.
Yeah.
I do have the 8 to 4:30 schedule, and I'm really happy about this. Sometimes like tonight, like it was late because we had in like a registration thing we were doing until, 7. So I had to do that until like probably like 7:30. But it's still a great schedule. And like I said, if you ever want to work in college, I think it's a great gig, because I think the benefits are good. It's a stable job. It's a state job technically. So it's like and I think it depends on the culture of the institution, and really that's any job you work at.
Sure.
Like the culture of the place is so big, and I think that was one of the problems I think with the retail job we worked, not with our store culture, but the company culture. I think that was something that I think was problematic, and that's probably why they might be in the position they're in now.
Ooh, but, we won't name any company names.
But it's just, but our store was great. That's how we met. So we knew each other a little bit.
Yeah, I think
we played baseball against each other.
Yeah.
And Nick's team always killed us. But our team was pretty good when we had like my brother and like that level. They had the varsity team, and I was younger, so I was on JV. But that team was pretty good. But yes, that's how we met, because we knew each other kind of.
Yeah, we knew each other through sports.
Yeah.
And then once we got a little bit older and we attended the university that we went to, we shout out? It was Salisbury University. What's up?
That's
Hello. We actually like met each other and kind of formed a friendship there. We started working at the same job, and then we became more homies, less acquaintance, more friends.
Yeah, and that's how I met Jamie too. Working.
Yes, sir. Shout out to my man Jamie. What's good?
He'll be listening, I think.
Yeah, I think Jamie listened to the last one. If he didn't, he definitely was one of the people that messaged me and was like, "Bro, I was about to listen. Where did it go?" So once again, the mystery of episode 1.
I mean, if y'all maybe push hard enough, you might end up getting it. But
maybe.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe we'll see.
But there's some people listen to it, so maybe they'll tell you what was in it. But it was pretty dope. It was pretty lit, I will say. So
it was good.
Yeah. So, but like I said, we're just refining some things. So, but yeah, I think a destiny type thing is like becoming more of my mindset as I go on. Like I try, and I think it's good to have that mindset because it helps me remain optimistic. Like, oh, even if this bad thing happened to me, it happened for this reason, and I can see that once I kind of separate myself from it.
Dude, yeah, it's cool to be able to rationalize, and then just realize that certain things happen, and if you can get back to the root of it, like, this happened because X, Y, or Z, and then you can figure out and make sure that you don't make that same mistake or give yourself that same heartbreak later on. But going back to the optimism thing, I just kind of want to touch on that because hey, we are saving the world here. And I think something that the world could use a little bit more of is a little bit more optimism.
Right.
You know what I mean? This has been like relevant in my life recently, so I'll share it with everybody.
Yeah.
But one of those things where mindset is key. Like I think if you wake up and you think like, oh, like for example, like I feel like this is like a meme, but the Monday morning people where it's like, oh, I got to go back to work Monday morning. This sucks. Yeah, it's probably going to suck, right? If you're like, man, I hate going to work on Mondays. Oh, time out. We're getting the black screen.
Battery exhausted. The black screen.
Battery exhausted. Hold on 1 second.